Good morning, everybody. So it's the weekend. My husband's at work, so I'm working some horses. I'm actually going to go start some bread here in a little bit because we are running low on bread. And yes, I make bread from scratch. Wouldn't really consider myself a trad wife because, from what I've seen, it's all about portraying a perfect, woman, perfectly feminine, full face of makeup, which I have none. Hair done. I braided it. That's as good as it gets for the day. Obviously, I'm not wearing a dress because I'm fixing to ride. You know, yes, I'm carrying on with a hobby that I enjoy and with competing. I have my own thing and it is what it is. My husband's fully supportive with that and I'm grateful for that. Um, but I feel like a lot of the trad wife stuff is a little deceptive, especially for the younger generations. I mean, nothing's going to be perfect. And a lot of the trad wife stuff I've seen, it's like, oh, everything's perfect, and you have to dress up, and you have to have makeup on, and mind your p's and q's. And I do try that because I feel like that's the biblical standard, and I do try to be a Proverbs 31 woman to the best of my ability. To some extent, I'm also a cowgirl. Have been from the time I was basically born. Been riding before I was born. Carried on, with some breaks the last few years. Um, but ultimately, that's not who I am. So, yeah, I can be a little outspoken at times. I do speak my mind, especially when things are unjust. I don't feel like I'm a mouse. There's a lot of things I won't say if it's going to not do any good and hurt somebody. I do feel like that's not really the woman's place to speak out and be ugly. And I try not to be. There's times and occasions for everything. But for the most part, you can be a stay-at-home mom and a stay-at-home wife, and you ain't got to have a picture-perfect life. I don't, but I still love my life, and I thank God for allowing me to be what I ultimately wanted to be. I went to college, got the degree, never could really figure out what I wanted to do with that because in my heart, all I ever wanted to do was be a wife and a mother, and God sought to bless me with that, and I'm forever grateful for that. I mean, I have 3 children. They're the best part of my life, besides my husband. Um, wouldn't mind having more at this rate. I enjoy my children and I enjoy being able to teach them and to educate them. I homeschool them. I was homeschooled through half of my school life, so I've carried on with them and just the education, it's paid for itself just teaching them because I can see where they are farther ahead in a lot of things already with the one-on-one. Not saying that's a fit for everybody, not saying you have to do that to be a stay-at-home mom or a trad wife or anything, but it's something that me and my family chose, and for a multitude of reasons, really. My husband's schedule's crazy. He never really knows when he's going to be off. So when he is off, we can kind of change things around or whatever to where he can actually be part of the family and enjoy being part of the family. We can spend time with him. And ultimately that's what I see as being a stay-at-home mom is it's family. It's family unit. So I don't really consider myself a trad wife based off of what all YouTube, TikTok, whatever. I've never really been on TikTok, but you know what they put out as being, what you have to be a good wife and mother. I'm not perfect. Never said I was. Never aspired to be. I try. I do try to work and be better every day because I feel like that's something that I am called to do, to work on myself and to be a better person as much as possible. But ultimately, I'm human, and without God, I'm nothing. So I do the best I can, and I try to teach my children to be respectful of themselves, be respectful of others, to stand up for what is right, um, take care of things, be responsible. And I feel like, being a stay-at-home mom, I'm able to better do that. Um, in a lot of ways, being a stay-at-home mom and a stay-at-home wife for me, I can serve my husband in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of things that I do that would probably spin some heads. I know some feminists would probably, their heads would probably explode with some of the things that I do because I enjoy doing it. You know, my husband wants breakfast in bed. Okay, not a problem. I get up, make breakfast for everybody every morning, so it's not an issue. My husband wants a particular meal, not an issue. You know, he's not picky like that. He's never asked me to be any particular way other than who I am, which I'm so grateful and blessed to have that. You know, he's never really asked me to do anything, honestly, outside of keep the kids alive and, you know, take care of them. Um, and I am blessed with that. But, you know, I take care of the house, but I work outside. You know, I enjoy working outside. I grew up working on a horse ranch. My parents owned a horse ranch, so I grew up working hard. I love working with my hands because I feel like I can really see what I've accomplished. I enjoy working with the horses because it's just a mental release for me in a way. The kids getting to ride and watching them ride and teaching them something that meant a lot to me back then and still does means a lot to me. You know, I don't really have an income. I do make money on the side via, you know, animals, meat rabbits, whatever, garden, whatever. Working horses, I've done that off and on. Kind of thinking about starting a little side business with the horses, with some therapy stuff and bringing back that kind of stuff that I used to be heavily involved with years ago. Because I like being able to help people with their horses and help figure out what's going on with their horses and make them the most comfortable they can be. Bodie, you're swatting me with your tail. But yeah, I mean, it's not something my husband requires, you know, and it's not something that I do feeling that I need to be able to get my own money. I mean, my husband brings home the paycheck and I take care of everything else for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand why it's such an issue nowadays I mean, we have such an extreme of, you know, the trad wife movement of you've got to be perfect and dressed up in perfect stuff and have your hair done perfectly. My hair gets done for a church, special events, sometimes. I mean, my hair kind of does its own thing, so, you know, I work with it. I've learned not to fight it. But, yeah, I mean, I do try to put makeup on a daily basis if I can remember and if I am having enough free time to even want to mess with it or feeling good enough to mess with it. Yeah, I'll do that. I like feeling good. I like feeling feminine. Painted my own nails. Yeah, need to redo them, but I haven't painted my nails in years, and I just decided to do that not long ago. My mom actually got me into that, but I grew up kind of a tomboy, always in jeans, always in t-shirts. So that's what I wear most days. I mean, my life is messy. I have children. They're messy. I garden. It's messy. I work horses. It's messy. Half the time I smell like a horse with horsehair on me. Or I'm covered in mud from gardening or, you know, cleaning out chicken coops or whatever. You know, my life ain't perfect. If that is something that you're interested in following and there's more, you know, interest in that, then I would love to do some more videos on that because it is something kind of near and dear to my heart because I really feel like a lot of women would be a lot happier if they had the capability of being stay-at-home moms and raising their children. At least for me, I mean, I can't imagine being away from my children on a daily. I mean, I am with them pretty much 24/7, 365. I mean, they're always with me. You know, I go to the store, I have all of them by myself, and I'm okay with that. You know, I don't have an issue with going out, you know, because the way I see it, I've raised them at home to be the same as when we're out. So we never have issues with stuff like that, and it just makes me proud when, you know, on the rare occasion, like, for instance, yesterday, my littles went with their Mimi and went and got lunch, and apparently there was people there complimenting how respectful they were, and, you know, they said their prayer at lunch and stuff like that. So, you know, it makes me proud when I get compliments like that on young children. I mean, under the age of 7 and under, it's all mine. Getting compliments on how respectful they are and well behaved. I mean, that just makes me so proud because, I mean, I've worked with a lot of kids over the years, and, you know, I actually started to be in a school system and I had a psychology teacher that changed that idea for me in college. So I changed my major not long after that. But, you know, kids getting raised in the school system and not really getting the one-on-one with their families, I feel like struggle a lot because they're getting taught to be like other kids in the school systems, and a lot of them are kind of ugly. I mean, they just are. I mean, they're kids teaching kids how to be kids, basically. Where my kids, I mean, they're with adults more than they are other kids. Now, they have their kid friends and whatnot, and, you know, we have no issue with any of that. But a lot of times the kids are with adults, and for the most part, they're very mature for their age. They can do a lot of stuff on their own, which I'm proud of, and I feel like it's going to set them up for success down the road, I hope. That is our ultimate goal, is to make it to where they can be successful in whatever their heart desires, you know, be it them starting their own business, whatever it is that they want. That's something that we want to be able to help teach them and help gear them toward whatever their goals are, whatever their dreams are. And we do it on a budget because, again, single income, you know, things can get tight at times. The Lord has always blessed us with the ability to continue on with what we are doing, and I'm quite proud of that. I'm quite thankful for that in a lot of ways. We still have a lot of work here to do on our farm, you know, that if I was working, yes, it would get done a lot faster, you know, barn, you know, some more fencing, stuff like that. Things would go a lot faster if I had extra income, yeah. But at the end of the day, our children are more important than the extra money, and the time away is not worth the trade out for the money that I would be bringing in, you know, especially with daycare prices nowadays. It's not worth it. So yeah, that's just my little rant talk. I have a spider crawling on my hat. That's just my little 2 cents worth on the whole tradwife movement deal. I mean, again, if it's your thing to be dressed up to the nines every day wearing heels, that's great. You know, kudos to you. Part of me would like to be able to follow suit with that, but it's just not practical for me, you know, and I feel like it's not really practical for a lot of people. You know, I've got some other stay-at-home mom friends, and, you know, one particular, she wears leggings a lot and t-shirts, and I'm in t-shirts and jeans, and my favorite new shoes is Hey Dudes. You know, I have heels. I have not worn heels other than to church, so I could probably get rid of the heels because most of the time I'm either in heels or I'm in cowgirl boots. I've got my riding boots and I've got my go to church boots because it is who I am, you know. I'm not some girly girl, but I would like to be. I'm not really. It doesn't fit me. I don't have the ambition to be that way. I never really have. I've always kind of been, you know, a little bit of a tomboy, and would rather, you know, my horse look good and be decked out and go run barrels or whatever showing I was doing at the time. I would rather go compete and have my horse look spotless than myself. I was more worried about my horse. Same with when we were at shows. You know, I could remember people based off their horse they were riding, not by their name or their face, because I was more concerned with looking at the horse. But, you know, that's just me. Probably not a right way to be, but, you know, it is what it is. I am who I am. And I feel like, you know, I just want to do a little bit of an intro because I haven't really done anything like this. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that don't like it. Whatever, it is what it is. I am who I am. Not really going to change. I mean, I am by no means perfect by any standard, not even some of your really churchy standards and your overly religious standards. I mean, you know, I got tattoos. I got piercings. My hair's kind of short, which I don't like at the moment, but, you know, I cut 9 inches of it off, thinking I was going to lighten it. You can't do that with henna and indigo. That's another story for another time. But, you know, be who you are. You know, be who God leads you to be. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. Number one, I'm also a cowgirl. So, yeah. Some aspects, yeah, I'm a trad wife if you wanted to look at certain aspects. Other aspects, I'm just a good old country girl that enjoys life and enjoys taking care of her family while at the same time enjoying life myself. You know, I have my own hobbies just like my husband does. I mean, he has multiple hobbies as well. He's also a rider, grew up rodeoing and all too. So we have that in common, big time. He's also a drummer, so we have a lot of music gigs we end up going to when he is off. But yeah, be who you are, enjoy your life that God gave you, and if at all possible, and you can find a man worth marrying that is willing to be the head of household and be the masculine man to step up and say, hey, I got this. I want to be the provider. I want to give you the means to be a mom or whatever situation that ends up. I would say go for it, you know. I have no regrets. I mean, if something was to happen tomorrow, I know God would have it in his hands and he would take care of it. And I have plenty of other skills that I've honed. It's not like I became a stay-at-home mom and a stay-at-home wife and I quit learning. You know, I have plenty of skills I've developed just since then, and I continue to develop all the time because I feel like if you ever quit learning, you might as well die. Because, yeah, there's so much to learn and so much out there. For instance, I'm trying to learn how to do videos, but we'll see how that goes. But if anybody has any questions or comments on any of that, I would love to answer them from my point of view. Again, you're going to get what you get. It's honest, straightforward. You see what you get. You might see me in a dress every now and then on a rare occasion. I do enjoy wearing dresses if I'm not working on horses, like if I'm doing laundry or hanging my laundry out and have no plans to garden and get filthy and nasty because I don't want to ruin the dresses that I have that I really like. Yeah, you might see me in a dress. Chances are kind of slim because it doesn't happen on a daily. Maybe once a week or twice. But you know, if it's something you can relate to, then by all means drop a comment in below. I would love to hear some other stories on people who are stay-at-home moms, and even if you're a trad wife, leave me some tips below on how you keep it together if you really do have like everything together and everything is perfect, because this girl ain't got that figured out yet. I mean, nothing is perfect. I try my best to do the best I can on a daily basis, and it's what I can do. The rest will still be here tomorrow, because tomorrow is another day. But anyways, subscribe, drop some comments below, because I'd really love to hear some different points of view on the trad wife movement versus, you know, maybe the Proverbs 31 woman, because that's kind of what I try to go off of, because that's what I feel is more what I should do. And according to what I've read and gathered from Proverbs 31, you know, they also try to earn income as well. It's not like they just depend solely on the other person. They contribute to the household. And even not necessarily income-wise, but she contributed, you know, by working and doing things with her own hands. And that's kind of how I try to do. I don't expect to make a bunch of money and be able to do a whole heck of a lot. But yeah, I contribute. I contribute with the horses. You know, when I sell, like I said, meat, rabbits, garden, whatever. There's certain things that I do to help bring in money and save money. I'm more into the saving, really, than even bringing money, because a penny saved is a penny earned, as the saying goes. So, but anyways, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going to go get on my horse here in a minute. I'm going to get everybody saddled. I got one down for a nap, and the other two are biting at the bit to get on. So I'm going to get them saddled, and then as soon as my little one wakes up, we're going to ride some. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and if you got anything from this video, by all means, like I said, subscribe please, and leave a comment, because I would love to read some comments on your day-to-day life. Can learn from everybody. See you guys. Bye.